A year ago, I was fortunate enough to purchase one of my dream cars in Japan, an NA1 Honda NSX. And 3 months ago, when it finally got imported into America, we immediately got it to the shop, started looking it over, and decided to immediately start tearing it apart. Alright, now although the NSX isn't here in the shop, there were still a lot of decisions that had to be made on the car. And one of the most important decisions was the engine. And when it came to the engine, we had a lot of options, and it was a very hard decision to make. Number one, we had the K-swap. Fast, reliable, really, really cool. It's a badass swap. Then the J-swap. Unique, interesting, also fast. And then it came down to the OEM engine, the C30A. Now, I said that this was a really hard decision to make, and while that was still kind of true, when it boils down to it, it wasn't. I told you guys in the last episode that Honda created a work of art. Every piece of the NSX was meticulously engineered for the NSX. The body, the suspension, the way the car handles and drives, down to the most important part about the car, the engine. This is a mid-engine, perfectly balanced Japanese supercar. And that's why this hard decision turned into kind of an easy decision. For the NSX, we're keeping the C30A. It looks shitty right now, but I promise it's not going to. Now, aside from all of that, let me tell you guys why we decided to keep the C30A. The legend of the NSX runs deep. We've talked about the chassis, but now let's talk about what powers this Japanese engineering masterpiece. In the beginning, Honda tried a massive 5-liter V8, but it didn't meet the strict weight requirements Honda had for the NSX. Next up, which is pretty cool, they tried a turbocharged V6. But in the end, with Honda's hopes and dreams for the NSX, this was quickly dismissed. The turbocharged option just didn't respond like they hoped. Rightly so, because you always want linear power in a sports car, it's really nice. And lastly, they thought about a supercharger, but that just added too much weight. The NSX ended up with the C-Series V6, which had just launched in Acura's Legend. This was a 3.0 that revved to over 7,000 RPM and had 250 horsepower. But in the development, Honda's CEO asked the most important question that changed the NSX forever. Where's VTEC? This question created the legendary C30A that comes in the NSX now. They added VTEC into the C30 as well as something that had never been done in a V6 prior, dual overhead cams. And along with this, the C30A also got titanium connecting rods to help the engine push 8,000 RPM. Yes, it's really, really good. And remember when I said the chassis of the car was an engineering masterpiece? Well, once Honda decided on the engine and built the engine for the NSX, the massive heads no longer fit in the engine bay. They had to go back and redesign the car to fit the engine, which extended the car by over an inch. And yes, it was worth it. So I guess in short, Honda created something special, something unique with true spirit that's hard to find now. And that's why I want to keep the C30A. So, with all that, let's get cracking on the engine. Before we can even think about touching the engine and getting that thing put back into the NSX, there's one major thing that we have to get done to it. Well, really this and the entire car. When we were taking this thing apart, you guys saw how crusty and bad the NSX was just in general. We were lucky enough to find some really amazing people to come help us out here at the shop. Before we get started on the engine, we are going to be working with cryo restorations on bringing the NSX back. But for today's purposes, we are sticking to the engine. I'll give you a little background real quick, but I'll let the guys do the talking. Cryo restorations is an ice blasting business that's going to help bring back all of our corroded steel, aluminum, hopefully fix some rust. I mean, we're going to see what we can really do with their work. They are a mobile ice blasting business that will come out to you, which is the most epic thing in the world. We were told so many times that mobile ice blasting didn't exist or wouldn't work, and today we're gonna be able to prove that wrong with cryo restorations. Now, really quickly, I know a lot of you guys are restoring cars, or you have a project car, or even a industrial business that you need some ice blasting for. I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link to cryo restorations down in the description box below. Take you guys straight to their site. You can get all their information there. If you guys like what you see in today's video, make sure to check out cryo restorations. But let's go talk to the team and see what we got to do for today. Here's how the engine currently sits. We have the heads covered up so we don't get any damage on our new valve covers, which you guys will see later on. But what we're hoping to fight today is all of the corrosion on the intake plenum, and I mean, just the engine in general is really, really rough. Impressive rig, dude.
Yeah.
So we've got Cameron here as well as Lucas. This is the cryo restorations team. Do you guys want to give us a little rundown of exactly what you do and kind of the process that's going to be going down today?
Yeah, so this is our full mobile rig. So we got this Mercedes Sprinter van.
Really quick, which is crazy because we were told so many times that you could not do mobile ice blasting.
No, definitely works well. So we have a couple different blasters. This is our main one that we're going to be using today for a lot of the heavy duty stuff. We also have a smaller one that's quite compact, portable as well. So makes it easier if we're doing bigger industrial jobs and you get in the tight crawl spaces. Yeah. You can walk in with that one. This one's pretty heavy. Makes it a lot easier too. We've got air supply systems, so we have air coolers, and then our big diesel compressor out the back. So in that diesel compressor, that's huge, lots of air volume. But getting so hot like that, it's going to condense a lot of that air, so you get a lot of water, which we don't want in the system. So it'll freeze up. So if we're working pretty hard throughout a day, we're going to go through around 400 to 500 pounds a day.
That's crazy, man. Wow. Well, I'm stoked. This is like a full-on setup, dude. This is crazy. And we have a good project for you guys today. It needs a lot of work, so I'm excited to see what we can get done.
So let's see how it turns out.
Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make. All
right, Cameron, we have a lot of work here. What is your honest opinions on what you think we can do with the engine? You guys know from watching the episodes that this car was left out in the sun for a really long time. It was abandoned. I have a hunch that the window was left open, so we have water damage on the inside. So, I mean, just baking in the Japanese sun, weather, rain, everything. So a lot of this is corroded, old. You guys can see we have rust here. Now, ice blasting helps a little bit with that. Do you want to explain kind of what ice blasting is for anybody that might not know?
So dry ice blasting, the way it works, it's a non-abrasive media, right? So you've got dry ice comes out, it's a solid at that stage. As soon as it hits the surface, it sublimates and you go straight to a gas. So we've got no primary residual waste. And because of that, it's not abrasive. So we could go over the nicest paint job and it's not going to damage it.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that's the benefit for us. We can do a lot of cleaning while minimizing any damage. So if you were to sandblast something, it would shred.
Yeah, for sure.
Make a total mess, so you just can't do that. Alternatively, you'd go with 15 cans of brake clean, but then you also don't want to do that either.
Probably more than that.
crack hoses. So our goal, you see like a lot of this calcium build up, the white stuff, we should be able to take that off. Any like subsurface rust, that's not going to come out, and any stains as well. So what it's going to work really well on is a lot of the wet oil residues. So you can see on top of the cans.
Oh yeah, all this.
Right out of the top here as well.
Especially where we had the oil leak from both valve covers were leaking on this car. So if you guys look down into here, we have tons of oil spillage. I mean, all this is going to come right out with what they're going to be doing today. And our hope is to kind of get a little bit of this out because the engine is going to be exposed in the rear. You guys know the NSX has the viewpoint from the rear hatch to the engine. We're going to get looking as best as we possibly can and see what they can whip
That's
out.
the plan. We're excited to see it.
I'm stoked, man. So with that, let's see what we can do. It'd be really nice to kind of clean up the transmission here, see how much we can actually get done. I know that all this corrosion is really, really baked in, but if we can just clean the surface and, like I said, make it look better than it does currently, that's a win in my book. Again, you guys have seen how bad the NSX was, so anything is going to be better than how it was right now. So I'm stoked for today. Cameron, what do we got here? This is the big machine. This is the baby machine.
Yeah, so this is one of our dry ice energy machines. So there's 4 different machines that this company manufactures. This is the second largest one. And it's going to be really good for all the electrical connectors, the smaller components on the engine.
Just like the light coating.
Just all the light stuff, exactly. Yeah. So once that all gets completed, we'll get the big machine fired up, and that's going to hit all the hard stuff.
Yeah, sick. So we've got kind of our pre-setup, then the big setup, but also the pre-setup's actually cleaning pretty well. I'm surprised. It's actually not doing too bad of a job on all this stuff down here. This stuff is really pitted into the manifold and into a lot of the aluminum on the engine itself. But again, for this being a small machine to make it this clean already, I'm very excited to see what the actual big machine can do. And already, I mean, I would be super happy with just this. So again, I'm stoked. Time for Big Bertha. Surface contaminants are off. Now we can use the big machine, and hopefully all this casing right here, well, we'll see how far we can get, but hopefully that removes all of this oxidation off of the transmission as well as the lock. But if you guys check down here, how good of a job the little guy did, oh my gosh. It is like night and day different. I am so hyped. Now, let's see what the big one can do. I would say from where we started until now is night and day different. That is nuts.
For sure, big difference.
For how bad it was, like that is crazy. The alternator looked so out of place when we started, and now it kind of matches the rest, which is so nice. This is probably the craziest part, the transmission and how gnarly it was over here. This is probably the biggest difference. I'll go ahead and put a clip or a picture on the screen so you guys can see right next to each other before and after. That is insane. That's crazy. Well, the boys did a killer job on the engine. This thing looks, I mean, infinitely better. It looks like new. Coming from what this looked like previously to where it is now, I mean, that is just good as new. It's insane. Wow, that is an unbelievable transformation. Now that we got the engine as clean as it possibly can be with the ice blasting, shout out to Karate Restorations, it's time for Tim and I to get to work. And there's a lot of it. Now, obviously, we decided to keep our C30A, and with this thing's a little bit funky. Now, with these engines, internally, there's not a ton to be gained unless you just rip this whole thing apart, go full send, or you break something and you need it. Yes, obviously it would help. But for us, we wanted to keep this thing original. There was nothing wrong with the engine. It's still running really, really strong, but there's definitely work to be done on it. Now, where these things really like their power are from the exhaust setups, your header, your exhaust, etc., as well as, of course, forced induction being supercharger or turbocharger. And with that, there's one specific company out there that has everything that you need down to a science for the NSX. Science of Speed. I have to give a big thank you to our friend Chris over at Science of Speed for literally helping me every step of the way to figure out what exactly I need this C30A. Like I said, they are the NSX experts, and Chris is very, very knowledgeable when it comes to the C30s or the C32s, and he was able to kind of guide me on what he thinks is most worth it when refreshing one of these engines. We have a ton of stuff here in order to make this C30 as good as new, or at least as good as it possibly can be. We got a ton of stuff to help refresh this C30A and make it as good as it possibly can be. Now, generally speaking, this engine has lowish miles. It has 146,000 kilometers, which in US miles here, I guess would be right around 90,000 miles. But in Japanese kilometers, that's actually kind of a lot for these old Japanese cars. These things actually don't usually get driven that much. So being that it's 146,000 kilometers, it's more of a higher mileage Japanese car. Now, what we can tell with this car is even though it was driven that 146,000 kilometers, this thing sat for a very, very long time. Just by telling the corrosion underneath the car and the corrosion on all of the engine block and accessories and everything, this thing sat for a really, really long time. There's really no telling how long, but the level of corrosion, it was a long time. So with that, we have to make sure that this engine is completely gone through, completely looked over, and everything that needs to be replaced, maintained, and just generally checked over is getting done today. And a huge portion of this was actually just done previously with just the ice blasting. Being able to have a much cleaner surface to not only work on, but also for the engine to run on is really nice as well. If we ever have any leaks or anything is wrong with this, it's gonna be a lot easier for us to tell what's actually leaking or what's wrong, because this is just so clean and spotless, or at least much better than what it was when we rolled this thing out of the car. So with that, that's probably the biggest step. But if we look over here to the Science of Speed box, we have just an unlimited amount of stuff that has to get done before we can put this engine back into the car. But I think we're going to be starting with probably the most labor-intensive piece and kind of the scariest piece to work on, the Science of Speed LMA kit. All right, before we can actually do anything, we have to get the alternator off, which is going to give us access to all of the timing stuff, and then we'll pull the timing, and then we can get started on the LMAs. Make sure your impact guns are fully charged. Oh, thank gosh. There she is. That would have been a whole situation. Crusty bolt. Now the pulley's off, we have the engine at top dead center. We can start pulling things off so that we can get ready to do our LMAs. First up, we're gonna loosen up these cam gears and get the timing belt off. Notch lines up with the line here. This arrow lines up with this arrow. This notch lines up with this line right here. Look at that, making progress. All right, be meticulous about this. There we go. Now that that's complete, it's time for the LMAs. Now I know you're probably asking, what in the hell is an LMA? And I had a whole spiel for you guys to kind of go over what exactly this is and why it's needed for this engine. But what I'm about to show you, I just figured I would wait until the, well, you'll see. So now it's time for the scary part. We're gonna take all of this off. We are literally just reading the owner's manual to figure out how to actually do this. So might kind of look like we know what we're doing. Nope. Learning as we go here. Okay, from here, I'd rather just do it by hand, honestly. Yeah, thought. Guess I can take these out, right? Okay, now theoretically, this should just come out. Oh, so scary. We have access.
Okay.
Yeah, it has.
Gasket maker.
Yeah, that is scary. It's gonna break this. Okay, nice and easy. Got it. Easy. Full access to the cams. Now,
Oh no.
God, at this point, I wish we did cams. I know. Whoa. The cam doesn't?
Supposed to be like this.
That's not good, because that is really, really bad. Oh, shit. Oh, no. What does that mean?
That means your head's fucked.
That's really bad. Oh no.
Like that's crazy.
Are you serious? Like, is like this is a bad. This is that bad.
That's bad. That's bad.
Oh, you're still here. Thanks for watching this long. If you made it this far, you should consider subscribing right up here, or I guess down below. And YouTube really thinks that you're gonna like this video right over here, so maybe check that one out. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let's get back to it.